Welcome back to HiTech Farmer. Today we are going to start pulling some corn out of this 42-foot bin. As you can see, we got the top door open. Truck's pulling under the leg right now. Every time we use the sweep auger in this bin, it seems like something is bound to go wrong. Reason being, when this bin was built in the 80s and they poured concrete for the bin to sit on, it didn't get perfectly level. And since the sweep auger runs on the floor in the bin to clean out the remaining grain, sometimes that can get bound up and shear the pins on the shaft that run it. So hopefully that doesn't happen today and we get lucky when we're unloading the corn out of here. There's a shaft almost similar to this under this gear case, under the floor where the grain sits. It has a bolt just like this one that snaps if there's too much pressure on the power sweep. So we're trying to clean up as much grain as possible behind here because it seems like the most pressure builds up right when we get it started. Dad's outside the bin right now making the adjustments. See if we can get the sweep auger running. Here comes the moment of truth. Woke up this morning knowing we were gonna empty that bin. It's almost like I could have guessed it because now we're in the shop grabbing some pieces, some tools, because the sweep auger isn't running properly. Dad guessed right on what needed to be fixed to get the sweep auger going. There's a jam nut on the back side of this handle that had to be tightened up a little bit. That way there's enough friction here to get that sweep auger going. Now that we got the sweep auger going, the next problem I'm already anticipating. So I grabbed a block and that post right there. And that problem is because the floor isn't completely level, we'll have to use that block and that post there he's using to pry up on the sweep auger. That way we can get it over the humps in the floor. If I were guessing, I'd say there's right around 3 semi-loads left in this bin, which means there's roughly 3,000 bushels yet to go. And we'll check with the protege here to see how many more bushels we need in to fill our contract. So Mike, how many more loads of corn do we need to bring in to fill our contract?
About 6 more loads in that contract.
Yep, so 6 more loads, which is gonna be another 3 loads out of a different bin once we get this one finished up. That's another load. That's the 3rd semi we've loaded up so far today. There were just one after another after another. Now they're all making the round trip back. So we got about 20 minutes before the next semi shows up and we make another chunk out of this grain. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when we were in that bin there, Dad had one of these masks on. And that's because some of that corn in that bin is from 2020. No, I'm just joking. He wears the mask because of all the dust and bees wings that's flying around in the bin, especially when we're scooping. And I probably should too. But honestly, the price of grain in 2020 for corn, 1 bushel was about $3. Today's cash price is right around $4. So if you really wouldn't have had any money borrowed against the grain, storing grain for, I guess, 4 years, might not have worked out so bad. Unlike the last bin we scooped out in the previous video, this bin is over 40 years old and it was actually built by my grandpa in the early 80s. At the time when this bin was built, they didn't have this walk-in door here. The only way to get inside the bin was this small hole right here on the side, in addition to the manhole at the top, which means the only way to get a sweep auger in here and the motor to run the sweep auger was this hole right here. And that's how they unloaded this bin for about 20 years. And then in the middle 2000s, when my dad took over the farm, he added this power sweep here, which we leave inside the bin and still use today, in addition to the walk-in door, which gets us into the bin so we can clean it out just like we're doing. Just got another load out of the bin. The leg's just finishing running. He'll be on his way. See if there's another truck coming. Turn around the corner. Looks like not another truck's here. Should be maybe another 5 minutes. We'll have another truck here to load up. One of my goals slash plans to do with this bin in my lifetime on our farm is to take this bin and move it over here. That way in that bin spot, I can put up a huge 100,000 bushel bin. And the nice thing about the location where this bin's sitting, or where our future bin might be in this same spot, is that it can get loaded off the leg and unloaded into the leg. So without setting up any augers, we now have another 100,000 bushels of corn or whatever grain we would fill it with that we can just access right away with the leg. Another thought I had for this bin, if we don't want to use it for grain storage, since it only holds 26,000 bushels, is turn it into what I'm going to call a bin-dominium. Everyone's heard of a shouse or a barn-dominium, but with this bin-dominium, I would have my living room and kitchen on the bottom floor, and then have wraparound stairs all the way around the outside that go up to the top floor, where I'd have my bedroom, bathroom, and an office. Even with that little hole in the side that I was talking about earlier, have that as like a skylight into the side. Just kind of a cool thing I've always had in the back of my head for something someday, if it ever happens and everything works out right, maybe turn this bin into a bin-dominium. Came back out of the bin, get some fresh air. Let's see how full this truck's getting. He's already on the back hopper, so I'm guessing not much longer and he'll be out of here. He's got a ways to go because he wants a big pile like he has on the front, just like that in the back. And there goes another load. I'd say we have another half load left in there. And then once the truck gets here, we'll top him off, start emptying out our largest 48-foot bin that holds 62,000 bushels. See what the temperature of the grain was in here. Right at 25 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll start emptying this bin one bushel at a time, all the way down to the bottom. Emptying out this bin here today at the end of February, and the Chicago Board of Trade price just dropped below $4 per bushel, has me personally thinking a lot about my grain marketing decisions from last year. For some of the fellow farmers that watch these videos, you guys know that the price of grain went from over $6 to $4 for some of this corn we have in the bin. And my question for you guys is, how do you guys handle the feeling of stress and guilt? Me personally, knowing that I could have sold some of this corn for over $2 a bushel more and helped to improve some things around my farm. I know at the end of the day, it was my decision and my choice not to sell this grain for a higher price during the midsummer rally. So I don't want anyone on here to feel bad for me or have pity for me. I'm just looking for honest advice, as this is only my third year farming, and this is the first time in my farming career that I've seen prices shoot down sharply lower. So I'm looking for some advice on how you guys handle some of that stress and some of that crummy feeling that you have knowing you left a little bit of profit on the table. The last truck is here now, and we'll be able to cross another bin off our list to empty out before next harvest. Now that our 42-foot bin's empty, we're gonna start pulling out of the big 60,000 bushel bin. Since we finished emptying out of our 42-foot bin, we're running out of our drag conveyor. We're having some problems with some ice buildup here. So we got our big crowbars. Michael and me are gonna try pounding it out. Don't hit that cup. There we go. I think we got most of those ice chunks cleared out, so we're gonna give her another go. Looks like the gauge is staying within our 15 to 20 range. So those ice chunks right there must have been the problem. For the last load of corn for the day, figured I'd hop in the truck here with Mark, ride up as we pull into the leg. And off goes the last truck of the day. We're gonna be awfully close on the total number of bushels that we hauled in. If we're gonna reach our contract, we're probably gonna be, I don't know, 50 to 20 bushels short. But that's gonna do it for today's video of HiTech Farmer. Thanks so much everybody for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.